guys, and welcome to this video. So before we get into the actual video, I just want to say a huge, massive thank you to each and every one of you guys, because I just hit 10,000 subscribers, which blows my mind, and I was just thinking about how amazing you guys are. Like, you're so kind in the comments, you're so engaging, and I just honestly feel so much gratitude for each and every one of you. I wish I could give you guys a big hug, but since I can't do that, I'm just going to try and keep creating videos that you guys enjoy watching. But I'll get back on topic now. So for today's video, we're gonna be talking through my top 5 favorite brow pencils, and you guys seem to really like these top 5 videos, so let me know down in the comments what top 5 videos you want to see, what kind of categories. I know eyeshadow palettes and primers have been highly requested, so I'm working on those, but if you guys have any specific top 5 requests, leave them down in the comments below and I will definitely do them. But today the topic is brows. I think brows are so important. If I don't do any other makeup on my face, I'll do my brows, just because I feel like it frames the face so much, and my eyebrows naturally are very sparse. So I've pretty much played around with every brow pencil the drugstore has to offer, and I think these 5 are the standout best. So I'm going to start with probably the most obvious one, and it's one I've raved about before. It's the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. So I've got 2 shades here because there's 2 different shades that work for me, and the first shade is Ash Brown. It's kind of a cool toned ashy brown, like it's called, and it works really well with my brow color. But the other color that I have is the shade Taupe. I feel like this is a very universal shade, and whenever I want to just fill in my brows very naturally and not have to worry about making perfect hair-like strokes, this is the color I go for, because I can be a little bit more sloppy with it because it's such a tame shade. I love the amount of shades that this brow range has to offer. There's 8 different shades in the range, which I think is fantastic. There's warm tones and cool tones, and you can find a shade that matches perfectly for you. These 2 are the ones that I go for. Obviously, you guys know I hate sharpening pencils, so every pencil I'm going to be talking about is mechanical because I just can't be bothered with sharpening my brow pencils. But what I love about this style of brow pencil is that it feels like a newly sharpened pencil because the tip is so fine. The problem that you run into sometimes with mechanical brow pencils is that they never stay as sharp as they were when you first bought them, but that's not the case with these because it is such a micro pencil. I'm also a huge fan of brow pencils that come with a spoolie. I think every brow pencil should come with a spoolie, and it just makes traveling so much easier when you just need to put one thing in your purse rather than having to pack your brow pencil as well as a spoolie. This is kind of your all-in-one brow product. I also find with these pencils, compared to some of the others I'm going to talk about, they have a lower amount of pigmentation. So if you prefer a brow product that has lower pigmentation, so it looks very natural, not at all drawn on, this is kind of the lower end of pigmentation, which can make it really easy to work with. But if you have very thick, full, dark brows, this might frustrate you and take you forever to fill in your brows because they are a little bit less pigmented than some of these other brow products I'm going to talk about. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just a matter of preference. These are the priciest of all of the ones I'm going to mention at $9.99, but I think they are extremely high quality. Okay, the next product I'm going to talk about is going to remind you a lot of the NYX Micro Brow Pencil, and it looks pretty much the same. It's the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer Pencil. I have this one in the shade Brunette. The downside with this range compared to the NYX one is that it only has 3 shade options. So if you really like the shape of this and the kind of idea of it, but you haven't been able to find your color match, I would give the NYX one a try because they're very similar. The difference that I see is that this one has a little bit more pigmentation. This one goes on just a little bit more smoothly, which again isn't a good thing or a bad thing. It's just what you prefer with your brow product. Again, with this one, you've got the spoolie on one end, which I love, I think is fantastic. This spoolie and the NYX one are pretty much the same. They're both very small spoolies that do a really good job of blending everything out. So even though there's only 3 shades, the shade Brunette I think is a perfect match for me. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. I find it looks really natural in my brows. This is slightly more affordable than the NYX one at $7.99, and I have an easier time finding these in stores than I do the NYX ones. I don't know if that's just me, but they're very similar products, so if you can only find one or the other, I think they're pretty interchangeable. However, this is slightly more pigmented and there are less options in terms of color range. Okay, next up, this one doesn't have a spoolie, which is the only downside of it, but other than that, I absolutely love it. It is the Maybelline Brow Define and Fill Duo. So this on one end has a little twist up with a sponge and then a powder formula to fill in kind of the larger areas of your brows. And then on the other side, it has a kind of a finer actual pencil. This one is definitely thicker than both the L'Oreal and the NYX ones I just talked about. So I'd recommend this for people that don't like the idea of the micro micro brow pencil, I feel like it takes forever to fill in your brows when you use those, and you're looking for something that's going to be a little bit less time consuming than drawing those perfect hair-like strokes with a very fine point. This is kind of like one of my in a hurry brow routines because not only do you have a thicker pencil, but you also have the powder. So you can just outline the shape of your brow with the pencil and then sort of like a coloring book, color in the lines with the powder, and it's super quick and easy. This does come in 4 different shades, and I find that the shade Soft Brown is the perfect one for me, and it's similar to the L'Oreal one in terms of pigmentation. It's definitely a lot more pigmented than the NYX micro brow pencil. So if you're looking for something that's going to glide on smoothly, or you don't like the pigmentation of the NYX one, this is definitely a great choice. Okay, this next one is the most affordable brow product that I'm going to mention in this video, and it is the Milani Easy Brow Water Resistant Pencil. This one does have a spoolie. In fact, that last one is the only brow product I'm going to talk about that doesn't have a spoolie because I'm such a spoolie advocate. This was a relatively recent find for me, and I am in love with it. The actual tip of the pencil is very similar to the Maybelline one I just showed in terms of thickness. So again, if you like something a little bit thicker than the micro kind of tiny pencils, this is a good kind of step up from that. Again, this one is pretty pigmented. This is one of the more pigmented, so I would recommend going with the lighter shade. I went for the shade Natural Taupe rather than whatever the darker one is because this is quite pigmented. So even though it is lighter than my brow color, I find that the lighter shade looks more natural because it is a more pigmented brow product. One thing I will say about this one is that it has the worst color selection of all of these. There's only 2 shades, though I absolutely adore this Natural Taupe shade, and I think it's a pretty universal shade. That is definitely the downside to this product. But again, I use this when I want a faster brow routine. I don't want to make those hair-like strokes, but I want to get my brows filled in because it is quite pigmented, much thicker of a pencil than the micro ones, and it does have a spoolie with it, so I can kind of brush everything through and make it look more natural. Okay, and then this last one I mentioned in a recent favorites video, and it is the Maybelline Brow Precise Micro Crayon. So this is another micro brow pencil. The shape of it and the size of the actual pencil is very comparable to the L'Oreal and the NYX micro brow pencil. Very, very thin, very micro, perfect for making a hair-like strokes. I don't know how many times I've said that in this video, but if that's your thing, this is definitely a great size for that. The pigmentation of this is definitely closer to the NYX micro brow pencil, not the L'Oreal one. So it's a little bit on the less pigmented end. This one does come in 4 shades. The shade match for me is, it doesn't actually say the color on here, but I will put it down in the description box. Again, it has a spoolie, which I absolutely love. The only thing that I'll say about this one that I don't love about it is, it may just be me, but I feel like I run out of this one faster than all the others. It is smaller than all of the other brow pencils I mentioned, so that may play into it, but this is definitely the one that I feel like runs out the quickest. But other than that, I think it's a fantastic brow product. So that is going to be it for this video. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite drugstore brow product is, and if you guys would be interested in seeing like top 5 brow pomades or top 5 brow gels, or if this is good for the brow department. But give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. And so, what is that? Is that a leaf blower? Really poor timing. Really poor timing. I swear they're like right outside my window. And every time I start trying to talk, it gets super loud. How many leaves are there? Like, how many leaves can there be?